Well, hey, gardeners, welcome back. So, we are going to do garden tour 16 today. I'm really excited to share this one with you guys because if you are interested in pool plantings that give you that resort like feel, that really kind of offer you buffering, offer you color, offer you layers, then stick around because I am going to share with you the plants and trees that I chose for this space to make that happen. And I'm just really excited for this one, especially for this one. I have a lot of challenging projects that I work with, but this one was up there. This space really had a tough soil to work with. It was clay-based soil. The clients forewarned me that things were dying that they had put in from a previous landscaper. They had it landscaped and it looked nice initially, but it quickly went downhill. And so they realized that there was some amendments that needed to be done. So the very first thing that I did was a soil sample here. We modified the soil. We brought in a lot of good organic matter. We dug these holes nice and deep. I'll see if I can slide in a clip or have Bryce slide in a clip of what the preparation that we did to make this what it's become. And then we added sulfur and potassium and some things that we could do to bring down that level of pH. And I waited to do this video because I wanted to make sure that we had a success. So we did this project several months ago. All the new shoots, all the new growth, all the things that are coming in shiny and beautiful and thick and dense. So I feel like we have a successful project. So I couldn't wait to share it with you guys because it was one of my favorite projects to do. I mean, just the pool area itself was absolutely stunning. The landscaping before, obviously, had its struggles. It wasn't the landscapers' design or whatnot. It was just a struggling space. Now it's the resort that John and Claudia really wanted it to become, and I'd love to hear what you guys think about it. So we're gonna walk and talk these plants and trees. I'm gonna share with you what I did, just kind of some companion plants that I used and why I used them, and then what was sun and what was shade and overall heights and just a little bit of details about the plants and trees. So get your pen and your pad ready. If you're planning on doing a project similar to this, or you're planning on doing a landscape project and you're in our area, then these are a great selection of plants to work with. So please like and subscribe and click that little notification bell. And that way, every time one of these videos pop up, you'll get a chance to see it. Bryce was just getting ready to tell me I could tell it. So, and of course, comment True Gardener because, we're kind of a true gardener community, and I love that you guys, every time I see that pop up, it just makes me smile. So thank you guys so much. These videos have been so fun for us to do. And like always, if you have any good ideas or if you have a challenging spot and you kind of want me to do a video on it or a short on it, then put it in the comments, and we'll do our best to add it to the comments if we think that that's something that we can do for you and we could be helpful. So again, these projects are kind of a fun little hobby that we started doing, and so it's so great to have such a great community and all your great comments. So thank you. But right now, we are going to start talking about these plants and trees. So again, grab your glass of wine or a cup of coffee, depending on the time of the day that you are in, and then we will start this garden tour. This backyard pool area is pretty much an exact rectangle, so I think I'm going to break this up into sections. We're going to start over here with this section of the pool. So this is the spa area. So I really wanted to have a nice backdrop backing. Now, we were fortunate enough to work with these Areca Palms that are already in place. So these Areca Palms do a fabulous job of offering buffering here. They're just, a great backdrop to our current island. And of course, we have Clusias that wrap around the backside of this. So privacy is exactly what the doctor called for back here. I mean, they have just got such a lush private space. So bringing in the trees, bringing in the color was just such a treat. So we're going to start over here. This is a Pygmy date palm. This is right across from the seeding section. So we're really letting this be a nice, dense, clustering palm, and it's just doing such a good job of that. I think that these are such a great feature. This palm has about another 3 foot to go, and then it's fully matured. So, I mean, how great is that? That's a kind of like forever buffering right there. And then, of course, you guys know how much I love foxtail palms, and so does this little woodpecker. Is that not the coolest thing? Claudia decorates everything to a T. I mean, she's just everything in the house, everything outside. She's such an artist in her own right that I absolutely love everything here. especially the woodpecker and the gnomes that are over there. But so we've got some foxtail ferns, and you kind of, or excuse me, foxtail palms, and I have 2 foxtail palms in this bed. So I have one anchoring this corner here, and one on the complete opposite corner here, framing this Christmas palm. So the other palms that are in this grouping that are going to become our tallest features, our kind of our level 1 trees, are going to be these royal palms in the back. So we've got 2 large royal palms at the farthest point in the back, and so they're going to be our big canopy backdrop palms. Then it drops down to our foxtail palms. Now right now there's not much of a level difference. However, in the near future, those royal palms are going to outgrow these foxtail palms, and you're really going to be able to see that variation in height. So it's going to start tearing down as you get to the front. So, and then that happens again with this Christmas palm. So the Christmas palm will get around 16, 18 foot tall and stop growing. The foxtail palms get all the way to 27, 28 foot and then stop growing. And then the royal palms, as most of you guys know, they just kind of keep growing. So they're going to be the backdrop palm of this whole bed. And then, of course, just to continue and make sure that this bed becomes nice and nestled and it doesn't really have a lot of gaps in it, I chose 3 pygmy date palms in a kind of a triangle formation. These pygmy date palms are going to give us almost like an intermediate wraparound canopy. And you can kind of see it doing that now, but in the future, you're really going to see that. So they're going to connect one to the other and become just a swath of fronds in that backdrop. As these all palms grow big and tall, that'll always be your intermediate trees. So those are going to be perfect level 2 trees that are going to give your eye a place to rest. And then it goes up to your Christmas, and then up to the foxtail, and then of course, eventually up to the royal palm. So what a stair-step effect just the palms themselves are going to offer. And then as those palms grow in, you'll get to see the next tiers. So in that back space back there, we have Monsteras. So it's a nice little clustering of Monsteras in the back. As you guys know, Monsteras get nice and tall. To the front, we've got Sanchisia. And then the front here, we have, here we have some Mammy Crotons. And our final tier down here is Liriope. So Monsteras are going to get that 4, 5, 6 foot tall in the back. That nice big height and big arching branches and just real tropical leaf feel. Then you drop down to the Sanchisia that are going to be that 4 foot range. And then you get down to the Mammy Crotons that are going to be 2 foot range. And then about a foot with the Liriope. So you can really see we are starting that stair-step effect with the plants. Then it goes into your level 2 trees and then your level 1 trees with the palm trees. So by the time this island's grown in a couple years, it's just going to be boom, 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 just a nice bit of layering, and it's going to be absolutely stunning around the pool area. Now, I did keep this garden more clean line tropical. So if this is the kind of look that you like, which means that there's more delineation, there's more individualism in the plant groupings, if that's a look that you like, then kind of research clean line tropicals, because that's kind of more in line with what this is. That does not mean that as Claudia's plantings get bigger and things open up and fill out, that she can't pop in some crazy in there to make it more and more tropical, more and more jungly. I have a feeling she's going to do that. So I think that's going to be lovely as well. So now we get into this section. So this is what I call the centerpiece of the garden. Obviously the Christmas palm is the finial in the middle. It's what all the palm trees are framing. And the plants do kind of that same thing. We get a pop of different color in this middle section. So I'm going to just pop in here, Bryce. So back here we have magnificent crotons. These are nice size. They came in, I think, 15-gallon size when I got them, but they have just a beautiful darkening of the leaf with like just these beautiful spots and then this orange coloring. I just think that they're just so stunning. And what a great way for them to do that kind of rounding, chunky look. So, I mean, look at that. It's just like a ball back there of just color. I just think that they're such a cool backdrop planting. And then down in the middle, just to kind of have enough fluff, enough thickness, we've got the Burle Marx here. And these Burle Marx are really going to fold over and become a nice 3-foot grouping and connect all together. So they're going to be a nice dark green bit of that kind of alocasia kind of leaf. So very, very tropical. And then to keep it more clean and more pared back, we've got a nice little row of the golden dews here, or gold mound. And we don't have many of them. You can really see that these lines are not, there's 4, 4, 4, and so there's not a lot of material in place, but it's just enough with color contrast and texture contrast that makes it, makes it interesting, makes it jazzy. So I really love the way it turned out. And then of course the Blew My Minds. What a great little swath of color they offer. So yellow, blues, greens, and then the pops of the Crotons to me just really play so nicely together. And then these little green liriopes are the perfect little border. What a great border they make. And then I know that they're never going to outgrow a space. They do a fantastic job of keeping the mulch in place and off of the pool deck. I just think they're great for that. And then you guys know I like my rhythms, so it's a rinse and repeat here. We have the Mammy Crotons, the Sanchesia in the back, and the liriope in the front. So it just kind of balances out on both sides. And then we get to have a little bit more fun in the rear corner. So back there we have a Cocunut Palm, and it's really going to open up and fill out and become a really nice corner anchor. And underneath those are the Brazilian Red Cloaks, and you guys know what they do. They're just coming out of their bloom cycle now, but they're going to fill in, and I think letting this whole corner go a little crazy is going to be right up Claudia's right up her path, because she loves that tropical look. So I think letting those Brazilian Red Cloaks get 8 or 9 foot or 10 foot tall in that little cluster, and then keeping these Songs of India just down below those Red Cloaks, keeping them almost like a little hedge, because they really thicken up, they really connect well together. Keeping them around 4 foot tall would be so ideal. They offer a great pop of color. They're a bit funky, and I just think that they're such a cool plant to work with. So, and we only have them in this little corner areas, so it's just like a little bit of a dab of nuts in there amongst the rest of the garden. And then we end it with the liriope on that corner, and on this corner the Foxtail Ferns. So we have some King Alexanders in this palm grouping here. And to the back, sorry to jump around on you, Bryce, but to the back we've got some sloppy painters and some ice tone crotons. We've kind of brought some pull accents here with these bromeliads. So these are silver odoratas. They're very vertical, very upright. They don't reproduce, so they're always going to stay put. I love plants that stay put when you plant them and don't just take over a whole space. Those will do that. They will always be like the fireball in the garden. They're very vertical, very structural. If you're going to put a landscape lighting on anything, put it on things like these, because gosh, at night that shadow effect really shows off. It's just so stunning. And then during the day, that silver coloring is just so striking. So I think they're fun. And then we have a mix of neo bromeliads down below with some Carissa Boxwood. Oh my gosh, you guys, I'm in love with this little gnome. I swear, gnomes are my thing. I don't know why. I even get them as gifts all the time. I just think they're so fun in the garden, and they just add such personality. And I love that he's got 2 anchoring the corners of the pergola. I mean, how cute is that? So we have the same type of thing going on, some sloppy painters in the back. This little area gets a little bit more protection from the sun because of the Clusia in the back, and then of course the pergola offers some shade. But we've got some quarter lines here, some farfugium there, and then we've got a little bit of bird's nest ferns taped into this area, and Excellence ruffled quarter lines down below. Now all of these really like filtered light, so I'm really stretching the amount of light that that they can take. But they're going to sunburn a little bit during the summer, but they will acclimate to the garden because this is just the perfect amount of light for them. So, but this is just offers a nice, beautiful backdrop to the seating section. I got to sit here earlier today and enjoy the garden and enjoy the breeze, and just it's so peaceful, so nice, and so private. I feel like I'm on an estate. I don't feel the neighbor right next to us, or the neighbor over in that area in their pool section. I feel like we're having private conversations out here with Claudia and John and Bryce, and it's just, I don't know, it's just been so nice. So, and I'm so pleased. I love coming back to these homes months later, and enjoying success with my clients, and their experiences of how things have come along and how much they've enjoyed the garden. It's such a blessing. I think that's the best part of my job. So, but anyway, off to the garden tour. Okay, so again, I hear it all the time with what you guys say, that you love the tropical look of my gardens, but keep in mind, I really do find a rhythm and stick with it. I try not to jazz up, like put in one plant here and one plant there and then not replicate it in other parts of the garden, because to me, having a rhythm or a theme and kind of following through with it in certain areas, I think that's what makes a garden look cohesive, makes it look clean, makes it look like it's got a formal design to it, and then it's also easier to maintain, and that's the big thing. This clustering of sloppy painters, if I mixed in a different type of plant grouping that didn't like, that would kind of collide with that, then now the homeowners are not maintaining one plant. They're maintaining one plant from getting into the other plant, and it can be a bit challenging to work with. So the goal is to make a sustainable garden, to make something that really can and will work well together. And sloppy painters do a fantastic job of setting in that environment and then staying separate from the ice tone crotons. You kind of see sloppy painters are vertical and widen out and kind of sprawl out, and then the ice tone crotons do the opposite. They're real compact, real dense, and that's kind of the method to my madness. It's not just about the color changes, it's about finding something that is more vertical and then mix it with something chunky and fat. So it's the only time it's okay to be chunky and fat. but I think I like that combination. I like how they pair well together. So, or a big leaf next to a thin long leaf. I mean, those things work so well together. I mean, just Bryce, if you turn around and get a quick glimpse of those farfugiums and how chunky and full and thick they are, and then you look at the quarter lines and you see how vertical they are. I mean, they're not going to compete with each other. They're going to surround it. They're going to kind of encompass it, and then it's going to look like more of that tropical rainforest kind of planting. And that's kind of what we were going with this design. So this section of the garden is exactly like the tour that we just did. We have two silver odoratas right across from each other. We've got the Carissa Boxwood, we've got the Bromeliads, we've got the Foxtail Ferns, and we have the King Alexanders. And I just think that pairs so well together, these varied heights and that backdrop to the back, and then the pop-outs of the silver odoratas. Now you can tell this side gets a little bit less sun, because look at how great these Brazilian red cloaks are doing. They're just absolutely happy. Look at these blooms on them, this big giant leaf. I mean, they're really, really liking the little bit more protection that they're getting on this corner versus the other corner. Not that those won't do well and come up to the challenge, but these are having to fight a lot less to be beautiful and thick and dense than those do over there. So, and it's kind of the same reason why I planted these in a corner where they're going to get protection as this Cocunut Palm opens up, and the King Alexander and the Foxtail open up around it. In no time, we're going to change the environment of this back space to where this is going to be a filtered light garden, which is going to allow Claudia to bring in some of those plants that we weren't able to bring in right from the start. She likes some of the plants that I have in my own garden. The dwarf alocasias, the aglaonemas, that kind of really heavy tropical leafy kind of foliage, more of those jungle vibes. And I told her, I said, as soon as these palms start to open up and the canopies start to get big, then we are going to able to tap those into certain sections of the garden. But if we do that now, she's going to have a struggle with keeping them healthy and happy. So it was important to really get us a good start, and then there'll be room to bring some of that fun stuff in later when the trees get bigger. So along this section of the garden, we have a very similar feel. Now this area was a little bit broader and a little bit wider, so we modified the bed a bit, but we've got the 2 royal palms far in the back, about 15 foot, 16 foot from the edge of the pool deck. And then we've got the 3 foxtail ferns in a triangle formation here. And then we have the Christmas palm as the centerpiece, like we have the opposite side, because we do have more room. We took it all the way to the walkway in this bed. So this is a little bit broader, wider bed. And it caused us to add a few more plants to widen this section out. So we've got clusters of the Burle Marx here and a clustering over there, and then the backdrop of the Monsteras way in the back, and then the magnificent Crotons that you see there. And then I love the gold mount. I mean, I don't know if it's going to pick up on camera real well, but we've got that dark glossy leaf with this bright neon just yellow, and these go from a neon yellow to a neon green different times of the year. But gosh, they just show off. And look at there's 3 of them in this bed right here, and that's all you need. 3 healthy plants in a bed, and then you can encircle them with a lower ground cover that's going to give you a pop of color, and then those liriope at the very edge. I just love this layering effect. I love the different types of leaves and the different contrasting colors, and I just think it comes together so cool. I'm really happy. I cannot wait to see this garden in a year and a half and see what it turns into. But again, we've got the Pygmy date palms in the back, and we've got 3 Pygmy date palms that are kind of going to create that same type of hammocked feel as our backdrop. So their yard is bigger than our typical size backyards. However, a pool area is a pool area, and we kind of all want that privacy around a pool area. They've got a nice big pool and nice big patio, so the scale of their landscaping might be larger than the scale of your landscaping at home, because they needed it to be taller, bigger, more vertical to kind of soften all the hardscapes of the house. So this landscaping really does fit that style of their home, and that's kind of the direction that we went. We went with more of a resort-like garden. There's more vertical palm trees in this space than a lot of my typical gardens. A lot of my gardens, you can do this with 3 or 4 or 5 palm trees, but because of what we're looking at, we really needed it to have more of that vertical aspect, more of that, like imagine umbrellas all the way around a resort-like planting. That's what these palm trees do. They're just kind of the thin part of the umbrella, and then the canopy that comes up and over. And I think that they're doing a great job of that. And then the plants, they offer the softness, they offer the fullness, they offer that bit of color, that bit of impact, and then that softness. So I don't know, I just think it's come together really well. I'm so very pleased with it. It's changed so much. Again, we'll slide into a before picture of where we started with this garden and now where we're ending up. So this was a last-minute add-on when we did the landscaping here. Everything else was turning out so beautiful, and they originally just had something pretty basic in this spot. I think it was like a ponytail palm, and just just some random trees just kind of put in place. So we opened this bed up so it has the same kind of swerves and softness that the rest of the landscaping has, and introduce some of the same plant material. We've got a Pygmy date palm on the corner, Sanchesia in the back, ice tone crotons in the rear here where they don't want them to get too big, so they're going to keep them at 4 foot. And then just a swath of foxtail ferns along the front. And then we did some nice aluminum alloy edging to kind of really create a clean line. And I don't know how I almost forgot this triple foxtail palm. So this is a foxtail palm. They didn't want to cover anything from the window, so we wanted to make sure that we got some clearance of these trunks, and then the canopy opens up right above it. But I'm going to go back here, Bryce, and this is the part that I love the most. As you're walking as a guest, as the first time that I walked back here after 4 or 5 months of not being here and coming underneath the canopies of the trees, I don't know, I just think it's magical. I feel like I am walking through a resort. So, and I hope my clients feel that way every time they look at this back space. But yeah, I think adding that addition was a perfect little thing. And then we'll lead over into this one little small area. It's kind of a little small nook in the beds or in the paver planter, but I think it's cool. This is a mango croton. They've got such bright white walls. I really wanted some dark aspects right along the house line, and I think these do it. I mean, this mango croton, just that dark contrast on there is just wild and fun and deep. And then, of course, we've got that big clustering of anti-lou quarterlines in that rear corner. Then right below them, because that's dark, we wanted to go with something with some light coloring in it, and that's the gold dust croton grouping. And then below that, obviously we've got the cool granite boulder, but right around the granite boulder, just to highlight it, we did the golden sedum. I mean, it's just a nice little grouping. And then a trio of bromeliads. I mean, these Imperialis Bromeliads, I can't get tired of those. I would put them in every garden if I could. I got a nice size on those. Those are 15 gallon, and I just think that they're just doing a nice job of becoming almost like a focal point around this old Christmas palm, and it's doing a nice job of that. And then just some lower bromeliads, sun bromeliads down below. And then we have another granite boulder here. Foxtail ferns, golden sedum, because I just love it. It doesn't look like moss around a rock. I just think it's just so cool with a little touch of that yellow tassel. So pretty. And then some gold dust crotons in the back, and then finishing off with a finial, something vertical, something very nice and anchoring, something that's going to really fill this space but not overtake it. This is a Japanese blueberry tree, and Claudia's going to let it get a couple feet taller, but this will be the finial. This will be the finish point here, and just a nice cone shaped along this edge. So she's got a nice mix of tropical with tapered. And I think that's this pool area is very clean line with the travertine and the very geometric patterns that I think that we really had to stick with very clean line landscape. And we can tap in a little crazy as things really grow in. So, but you guys will have to let me know what you think of the garden. And so if there's anything that I missed in the video, any plants or trees that I've seen, or any questions that you might have about this property, then please stick in the comments down below, because it's a pretty nice size project, and I'm sure that there's something that I missed, and I'd love to share it with you guys. But before we go, I thought maybe Bryce will mind. We'll walk around the front and get a little bit of video footage of their front yard. They've got some beautiful bottle palms and some really interesting features. So I thought I would just kind of hit on a few of those, because they're pretty matured, and I know I talk about them pretty often. I plant them a lot in my landscapes, but you guys don't always get a chance to see them. You see them more newly planted than you do when they're in the ground like they are now. So I'm just going to pop around the corner and share that with you guys. So come on, join me. Check out these gnomes, Bryce. Are they not so cute? I don't know what it is with me and gnomes, but I love gnomes. Okay, so you guys, like I mentioned just a moment ago, you're going to just touch on a few of these cool accents and cool trees that Claudia and John have in the front yard. So this is the blue agave, also a tequila agave, for those of you guys who are wondering. But, when I plant these in the garden, and they're usually around, 2.5, 3 feet tall, this is what they become, and they become this fairly fast. So they planted these in the garden, I think a couple years ago, when they moved in. And then just these are just absolute stunners. I can see them from the road when I pull in. I just think, what a great focal point. They don't really need a whole lot with them, but what a nice standalone feature they make. And I wanted you guys to see what they look like when they're matured. And obviously they will get a little bit taller, but they're just so stunning. So wanted to share it. And then coming around to their front yard, I mean, this bottle palm, you know, it's not huge, but it's around, I would say overall about 8 foot, 9 foot tall, but it's so super happy. Look at the base on it. I mean, just what a nice structure they are in the garden. It's soft, it's delicate. It doesn't have a ton of canopy foliage, but I don't know, it just has such a graceful look as a focal point in the garden. And I think that is just worth mentioning. And of course, Foxtail ferns I'm a fan of foxtail ferns, so I love their messy little clustering look of what they offer. And then she's got a couple of flame agaves in here, just to, and we are being recorded, just in case you guys were wondering. And then here, Australian fern tree. Now that will eventually outgrow that spot, but you know, they're a tough plant to really get established. I've had my love-hate relationship with them, but gosh, that feathery fern-like leaf, is that just not, oh, it's just not gorgeous. I mean, just love that softness to this tree. What a cool arcing branch, kind of a nice rustic look to the trunk. It is just beautiful. I have one in my garden, and it's fighting me a little bit because they're a little finickier than I'm used to, but because I love the look of it so much, I'm giving it a little bit more doctoring than I like. But if you have a little patience, these trees are well worth it. They like the shade, they like moisture, so those two things, if you can give them that, and then of course they like a acidic soil, so if you can handle that, they do so well in the garden. So I'm working with mine now, but it's just such a cool tree. So I just wanted to share with you guys some of these cool tropical features that I don't always get to share with you while they're nice and large, but I hope that you've enjoyed this tour that kind of wraps up their whole yard. We got to see a little bit of the front yard and quite a bit of the backyard. And what was that, Bryce? Oh, did you want me to mention the? I just thought that was cool. Okay. And the last tree on the list today. Yes, it is. So this is probably one of the healthiest Japanese fern trees that I've come across. Isn't it gorgeous? I mean, I can literally stand underneath of this. And now John has done a fantastic job of trimming this guy because they have a tendency to get a little bit broad, a little bit thin. So the fact that this one is so dense and doesn't have real thin spots within the garden means that he's done a good job trimming this. And by doing that, he's trimmed some of the outside widening branches. He's probably trimmed those about every 3 months. So keeping it nice, more and condensed, more like a big giant lollipop. So it's a beautiful, beautiful fern tree. And you can tell they like that kind of soft tropical leaf because it's, you know, it really, really matches that front Australian fern tree. So you guys, I hope you really enjoyed this garden tour. I know I enjoyed creating the design for it and putting it together for my clients and meeting such great clients like John and Claudia to put this together, and it's been my pleasure. And if there's any questions you have about the design or have about the plant and tree groupings that I chose, please stick them in the comments down below, and I would be very happy to let you know. Please comment True Gardener if you made it through this more than likely very long video. I tended to go off a little bit, but I tend to do that when I have projects that I'm just so passionate about. And then find us on Instagram, and please like, subscribe, and click that little notification bell. And that way I will see you in the very next video. So hope you got some inspiration, and happy gardening. Thank you guys for watching. Bye.